Okay, I'd like to call the Joint Special School Building Committee to order. We're at the Nashua High School North Lecture Hall. It's Thursday, May 25th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Alderwoman Wilshire. Here. Alderwoman Clee. Alderwoman Timmons. Here. Alderman Sullivan. Miss Raymond.
Here.
Miss Lampier.
Here.
Miss Bishop is here. Miss Giglio.
Here.
And Mr. Claffey has some traffic issues, so he probably is going to show up here in a little bit.
Okay, Alderman Sullivan is on business travel, and Alderman Clee cannot join us this evening. Okay. So I'll have the clerk read the prayer, and Ms. Raymond, would you lead us in the pledge?
Almighty God, we have the high honor and serious duty to manage the educational affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all of our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So if there are no objections, I will waive the reading of the minutes of the Joint Special School Building Committee meeting of April 20th, 23 and place them on file. And for the transcriptionists, it's not a vote. If there's no objections, they're approved. Remarks by Chairman. Tonight we're going to be going through some of the letters of recommendation for work for Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable, and Ken is going to explain that we're going to approve them both schools at once for the same work. The prices may be a little different, and he'll explain why. All right. Remarks by school administration. Mario, and anything?
Just that we had a tour almost 2 weeks ago of all the new school construction. Many members of the JSSBC, Board of Education, and Board of Aldermen, and it was just wonderful to see the progress at McCarthy, the work that's going to be happening at Maine Dunstable, Franklin Street. Just really a credit to the commitment to the city, the JSSBC, and the work of our Harvey and Harriman and EEI. It's just, I am blown away by the progress over the last 10 months. So just truly, truly remarkable. So I just want to thank you all for supporting the investment in our schools and the quality of education for our students in our community. So thank you.
Okay. Sean, anything? Okay. Items for discussion, approval of invoices. We're going to start with the architect's report from Harriman. Jamie Willett.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Jamie Willett with Harriman. I passed around a memo tonight just kind of summarizing some of the activities that have happened since our last JSSBC together. So I'll go ahead and kind of go through those items. At the Brian S. McCarthy Middle School, Harriman continues to review submittals and questions coming from the field, as well as site visits to the site periodically. I actually have some submittals that was delivered to me tonight to even review. So. For design items, we're currently still working on the furniture design. We've had at least one meeting since our last get-together here, where we met and talked about classroom furniture, desks and chairs, as well as classroom furniture tools, office furnishings, collaboration area furnishings, and also cafeteria dining options. What transpired out of those meetings to date. I should say that that was at the superintendent's office with Superintendent Andrade, and as well as a couple of teaching staff from Elm Street School, I believe, and facilities. And so I think that was our second or third meeting on furniture discussions, and I'm optimistic on the outlook for the furnishings there. The findings so far, the preference are for the furniture to be durable, flexible, and adaptable. In other words, obviously durable makes a lot of sense for schools, but being able to be flexible, used in multitudes of settings, being able to allow for different group settings, moving them around, maybe even standing or sitting, kind of giving some diverse options for students and staff to utilize. And then adaptable is again, same idea, but also allowing maybe students or staff with some different needs to be able to use them as they need to. So we're currently working on populating the classrooms and other spaces that we discussed onto a plan, and making some selections to bring back to the next meeting to kind of finalize those selections. And so we're hopeful to be able to bring those back to not only that group of people, but also back here, so I can have a presentation shortly and kind of show where those are landing. So I'm excited to do that. We have a follow-up meeting, I think it's the first week in June, with Special Education Director Dan Alexander and Assistant Superintendent Matt Posca to review the special ed areas. We're going to actually go walk around the McCarthy Middle School, look at those spaces, and then start talking about any special furniture needs that may or may not be needed in that school. And then we're going to also have to follow up with the Unified Arts area because we have not had a full discussion on all of those spaces. We have talked a little bit about some of them. So. On May 17th, we had a meeting with technology, Nashua Schools Technology Group, as well as facilities, and we were specifically looking at options and locations of the teaching devices throughout the school. So things like projector needs and teaching wall devices and other things. So I think that went fairly well. I think the cue there is that they're looking to procure the devices that they're going to utilize in the McCarthy Middle School. So they seem to have a good grasp of that now. I was just walking them through the plans and what was at least the intent of the building, and they can move from there. At the Pennachuck Middle School, Harriman and myself was pleased to be able to attend the rededication ceremony on May 17th. I was really appreciative to be able to pass the key and then co-host a tour with Principal Fazzarano throughout the building. So that was a nice experience, so thank you for that. And Birch Hill, Maine, Dunstable Elementary Schools kind of getting underway. We've been doing some coordination, ongoing coordination with Harvey and for the construction initiation, although they're on site doing work. They haven't gotten into the school per se. We continue to coordinate with ongoing permitting needs for that school. I think there's some state fire marshal questions that have come to the surface that we're just addressing right now. Nothing of any major significance, just they need a little further detailing, which is expected to go out tomorrow. I'm waiting on one final piece from others. And then Harriman is engaging still in review of submittals and questions coming from Harvey from the site. At 55 Franklin Street, we're coordinating construction permitting for the kitchen, coordinating with the city actually on that one. I think that's that should be resolved on their end. We've sent the plans to them so they'll be able to do their final review of the added kitchen to the Franklin Street School. And we're also preparing some drawings for the additionally requested site revisions from a walkthrough that occurred on site a couple weeks back. And so those are underway and expected to be completed fairly shortly. That's it.
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Raymond?
Thank you. When I guess my question is, when will the furniture selections come to us? Will it be before or after the new principal for the new middle school will be onboarded? 'Cause when does she starts in like a month, right?
She starts July 1st, but we invited her to the next meeting,
Oh,
so
fantastic.
she'll make herself available.
Okay, that's great. And then my second question is about if we have any idea of what we anticipate for needs for those special education spaces at McCarthy Middle School. Like, are we talking about lifts, other assistive devices for changing tables? What kinds of specialized equipment?
I wanted to say that we are providing a lift already as one of the special ed bathrooms for the more intensive needs for those students. As far as furniture, I think we haven't gotten to that discussion, so that may be a question for school district.
Yeah, and I think that's some of the purpose of next week of the walkthrough. It is next week, so, and so more details will follow from there, but we're taking that all into consideration with the special population.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. This is in reference to the chairs and the desks ergonomically. How are they going to work that way with the staffing? Do you do ergonomics, or how do we ensure that these teachers are not, or the staff not injured through the desks and chairs?
I wouldn't say I can't ensure anybody isn't injured from
Well,
furniture.
you know what I
but-
mean.
But to answer your question, these are high quality chairs. I mean, we see some of them already being used at Fairgrounds and Pennachuck. I believe the chair selections for like the staff, as an example, is a 4-hour chair. I would guess to venture that the school district probably doesn't want teachers sitting directly for 4 hours when they're engaging with students, but the chair is quality enough for 4 hours of sitting like you were sitting at a desk for a full 4 hours. The chairs have some flexibilities in the back. They're made for students. This furniture that we're looking at is specifically made for schools and the students' needs. Furniture has evolved quite a bit since the wooden chairs of Elm Street School. So.
Or even since I've been in school.
Yes, that's true.
Any other questions for Harriman? Yes, Ms. Lampier.
I just wanted to go back to Heather's question about the changing tables. I know that we want to bring in more kids back into the district, and of course, we have the lift. So we do have plans for a full-size adult changing table, right?
I would believe so. I mean, we anticipate it's middle school students, so it's not for little kids.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have some full-size,
All right.
kids, so, I mean, I don't think it'll be the small version, so I think we'll be anticipating that.
If I may elaborate on that, the room that has the lift, as an example, is big enough to have a full-size table cot. It's not really a cot, but it's a table. So the lift would go from that table location. It can carry to the toilet, and then it can also carry to the shower, adjacent shower. So.
Any other questions? Okay, so we'll move on to construction manager's report. Ken Lamier?
Thank you. Ken Lemeria, Harvey Construction, project manager. And to my right is Kathy Misko. So we're going to run through our agenda here. So Kathy and I are going to give a quick construction update on Pennachuck, Brian S. McCarthy, Franklin Street, and Main D. Birch Hill. And then we've got some change orders for Pennachuck, Brian S. McCarthy, and Franklin Street. And then I've got 10 letters of recommendation packages for Birch Hill. So bear with me, jump in, ask any questions whenever you have them. Right. So starting with construction updates here. So Dr. Andre mentioned that about 2 weeks ago, we had a nice visit from the Board of Education and other members of the district and community. It was really nice to get some non-construction people on the job site to, it's nice to hear good job every once in a while. So it was nice to walk everybody through the site. So we walked around the exterior of the site. I guess that's where we'll start here. So the track-based paving is complete, and we'll be paving, final paving this summer, and then doing the final surfacing of that track in the fall. We're kind of working our way from the outskirts of the site towards the school, And then we'll wrap up with the final landscaping and fine tuning next year before the school opens, so everything's looking fresh in fall of '24. So we'll actually, after the holiday weekend, we'll be seeding all of the athletic fields and then start irrigation, watering them. So the field will have 2 growth seasons for when the school opens in the fall of '24. And we're just kind of fine tuning and finish grading all of the athletic fields, because we're going to be getting the fencing in over the next month or 2 as well. So as those things kind of get wrapped up, we'll finalize all the guardrails and sidewalks. So if you've been to the site recently, which some of you have, you've noticed that some of those items and features have already been installed. So it's kind of being developed, and the site work company will kind of go away at the end of June and then come back in the fall to get things ready for the winter, and then fine-tune things in the spring of '24. Yeah, so the photo right here in the upper left is one of the new monumental signs here. And then this photo is actually taken on the roof of Area B, Building B. So it's a nice view of Cherrywood Court right here. So it's it's a real nice view. You can see pretty much all of Nashua there, and probably most of Brookline. So focusing on the building, so building C, B, and D, those are more the academic wings. We're kind of wrapping up and finishing up all of the exterior features of the building. Building C is the most furthest along. Both elevators are installed in building C and B, so those will be kind of fine-tuned, and the punch list will be completed next year as we approach occupancy. And then kind of the framing, buildings B and D are more behind area C. So everything is running on schedule and going well on site. So we'll get to some photos here.
And just one thing, I asked when that sign's going to be put at the base of the street after the last snowplow next winter.
So moving into some photos of the exterior of buildings C and D. So this is an example of the concrete rain screen panels that are being installed. So this is just wanted to give an example of what we look at when we actually construct this. So the highlighted area here is the area that you're kind of looking at this section here. So Harriman provides us with the design, and we kind of put the puzzle pieces together and open up all the boxes and put it together. Now, here's an example of the glass curtain wall. That's a kind of a feature on most of all the student wings. Since I think they're in area B now, so they're working their way around the building. And then this is the air vapor barrier. So this is what keeps the water out of the building. This is the stuff that goes behind the brick and the rain screen before they're installed. Moving into area A, which is more the unified arts, cafeteria, gymnasium area of the building. You'll see a nice view here of the learning commons, like from the cafeteria. So these are kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, I think they're just like seating areas for the new media center that's on the second floor of area A. So I think they're windows that are looking down into the cafeteria.
Yeah, some small group rooms, and on one of them is a small group, and the other one is like a seating area, like you suggested.
Mm-hmm. Area A, so here's a photo here. We actually did some floor leveling because there's some movable bookcases and stacks. So we just wanted to make sure that we get a perfectly level floor in there. So that was kind of a cool feature that we don't get to see happen much in construction. We've got the new transformer that's this is on the back side of Area A. Since this photo, the new generator has been installed. And then this is a big milestone for us. It was our last slab placement in Area A, so that was probably 4 weeks ago now, but still a big milestone in our book. Area A will be complete in summer of '24, so probably in June of '24. It'll be the last building that we turn over to the school, and areas C, B, and D will be turned over at the end of this year. So that'll give some time, in mentioning the furniture talks earlier, it'll give the district plenty of time to get things ready and move in and kind of live with, like, learn the space before school opens in fall of '24. Any questions on McCarthy?
It's really moving along, as the superintendent found out today, just since the tour. There's a lot been done. Yes, Mr. Raymond.
I just wanted to thank you for arranging that tour for us. I found it really interesting and kind of inspiring to go and see the new space. And I have to say, my favorite thing was the flooring. It's like rubberized and super soft, and you know, if I had to stand up for my job all day, I would be wanting something softer than, you know, porcelain tile or concrete. So I really appreciate that selection.
Any other questions on the McCarthy School? No? Okay, Ken?
Okay, moving over to Pennachuck Middle School. So believe it or not, we're still there. We did a lot of work over April vacation. There was a new dumpster area, kitchen cooler revisions that were added to the scope of the project. It was kind of more of like a safety concern. Things were a little congested out back, and Principal Falzerano had some concerns with, you know, the layout of certain items. So Harriman and the district were able to come up with a feasible option to kind of revise the layout back there. So we were able to do that over April vacation. We were able to clean up all of the remaining site work and landscaping things that didn't quite get taken care of before the winter hit us. We finished up all the added whiteboards for the spaces that were getting the additional projectors. And with various security and access upgrades to door hardware that were kind of vetted out through as we kind of learned the new spaces and how they functioned. And then this photo here in the middle, the collaboration space that we added. Harriman added at the request of the district, kind of a nice storefront. So it's a good feature where the teachers can lock these doors during the day and kind of use it as a storage space and like a break area as well. So just a couple of examples of the items that we're able to address over break, and cleaning up the courtyard at the new Learning Commons and wrap up some roofing issues. So we're actually completing all of the roofing this week before the holiday weekend. We're wrapping up the HVAC commissioning process over the next week or so, doing the final owner training to make sure that the building automation is working properly and that the staff has been trained so they can take care of the buildings themselves. And then this summer, but during the last meeting, we had the track regrading and resurfacing approved. So we'll be scheduling that after school. So probably late June, early July, we'll be resurfacing and regrading that track at that school.
Just another thing at Pennachuck, this is from Mr. Claffey. They did find an error in the timing of the light, and if there's nobody coming out of Pennachuck, or I get the name of the other street, I should know, but it's not going to trip the light, so the light will stay green on Manchester Street. Did that just for you.
Okay, any questions on Pennachuck?
And the other thing was the landscaping. I think the landscaping's all done now,
Correct.
and the only thing we have to do is make sure the bus drivers know how to turn a corner. Or we're going to put something there that will keep them from hitting it.
Ready for Franklin Street? Hi, everyone. Well, Franklin Street is getting ready to ramp up, is how I would describe that. We have a lot of work to do between now and August 15th, right? And it's kind of quiet right now while we're working on the third floor until school gets out, and then there's going to be a lot of activity coming. So our recent completions were the first floor space, which did include the nurses area, which is where the pictures on the left-hand side are, looking into the nurse's office and just a hand washing station. And we also had bathrooms on the first floor as well as the classrooms. So these were kind of different area than just the normal classroom spaces that have been renovated and refreshed. Currently, we're working on the third floor, so the upper right-hand picture shows, if you remember, that was the floor where we had to remove all the drywall and then replace it. So we're putting back that purple abuse board and getting that reinstalled in the areas that we were able to abate. So we still have more abatement to do the week of June 26th when school gets out in the bathroom groups and in the westernmost classrooms. But until then, we are able to work in half to 2/3 of that floor right now, finishing this framing and sheetrock. We're removing also some abandoned vent lines, for example, to try to just clean up the facility for it to be easier to be cared for, really. MEP wall rough-ins are ongoing, and painting and flooring will be coming up next. This just shows graphically what's coming up. So the white areas are the areas that we have abated and are working in right now. The purple areas are what we have left to abate as soon as school gets out. So we do have a lot of activity, as I say, coming up in the summer, beginning with the abatement, continuing then refinishing the purple rooms. So it's just really putting new sheetrock on the existing studs that are in place so that the classroom work will go relatively quickly. The restroom work in the middle section there will be not challenging, but just there'll be a lot of work in there to put in, to upgrade the bathrooms. And the kitchen is the white space in between the two purple areas, actually. Those are going to be the important areas for us to get the materials that have been ordered in on time. We're also working on an elevator upgrade, some security upgrades that we'll talk about when we get to PCOs, the exterior improvement work that Harriman has mentioned already, and the rest of our scope, which does involve some improvements to the stairwell steps as well. So, and of course, a new roof. I forgot about that. Yeah, the new roof. So we have a lot of activity that we're gearing up to do, making sure everyone's on track and has their products and are ready to go. So it's a sensitive area as far as the neighborhood. It's a very tight space, and there will be EEI will also be on site replacing the windows. That's not directly our work, but we have to obviously coordinate with them to make sure cranes and lifts are not all trying to be in the same place at the same time. So that Winter Street, it's very tight back there, and we're trying to be very cautious of the surroundings and try to get completed as efficiently as possible.
Any questions on Franklin Street? Yes, Mr. Raymond?
Thank you. I just have to say that I'm really appreciative of your focus on the safety and health of the kids as you're working through all of this abatement, because I know it's a huge undertaking, and it's comforting to know that it's being done properly to make sure that our tiniest kids are safe. My question is about exterior upgrades as well. I think that we had approved a basketball court back there. And when we had the tour, the principal was talking about an expansion of the playground. Is that scheduled for this summer or some other time?
This summer.
Okay.
We're trying to get that done this summer. So that's the design documents that Harriman is finalizing. We have a good idea already of what needs to be done. There's some fence changes. There's some donated plantings that the school has, some trees that we're going to be able to put in, hopefully. There's the basketball court, and the playground will get expanded around the front of the building, sort of clean up some of the landscaping. So all those things are on the list,
Okay.
and I want to get them done
long-
this summer.
That's a long list. And then the other question I had is, after the new roof, is Franklin Street on the list for solar? Or do we need to meet with the solar people again?
John?
Yes, I'd like to get solar on there. The city is in the process of putting an RFP out for a new solar company.
Okay,
So once that's in place, that we can pursue a solar company for Franklin Street.
okay,
But we're probably looking at next summer, so summer '24 for that.
okay. Thank you.
Other questions? So, couple things. One, I've been working with DPW and Dan Hudson, the city engineer. As soon as the windows are in, the roof, the cranes are gone from putting things on the roof, DPW is going to repave Winter Street and repave part of Locust so that they have nice streets, and then they will go back before school starts and put in the final street markings. So that will do well. And I hope we have pictures of the before, because the change in this building is amazing from the days when we first went in till today. And I have to say that both Harvey and EEI have done an amazing job with the amount of money that we've been able to get this done with. It's just phenomenal. So, okay.
Okay, moving back to, or over to Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable Elementary Schools. So much like Kathy and her team over at 55 Franklin Street, we're chomping at the bits to get in there in the summertime so we can start the actual work. So much of the work that we've been doing at both sites is kind of gearing up for the relocation of the portable classrooms from Elm Street. So I believe we're wrapping up at Maine Dunstable this week. You can kind of see the these are the precast piers that are going to be placed below as foundations for, underneath the new portable classrooms being relocated. So we'll be wrapping this up over the next week or so, and then moving over to Birch Hill with the eventual relocation of those trailers in June. We were able, kind of mentioned the abatement and the challenge of performing that during school. We have to wait for vacations. We're able to get into the cafeteria at Maine Dunstable over April vacation and perform the abatement of the floor to remove the asbestos containing materials there. So it's kind of a before and after photo. After obviously the floor is just concrete now, and then before you can kind of see the containment before the abatement continues. Jamie mentioned earlier that Harriman and Harvey is working with the state fire marshal and the local building and planning departments to kind of wrap up, cross the T's and dot the I's on the permits. But as he mentioned, I don't see any issues finalizing that over the next week or so. So again, getting ready for the summer. We have a lot of work to get done in 7 or 8 weeks. So we're ready to start.
Questions on Maine Dunstable and Birch Hill? Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a lot tonight. When we had the tour of Maine Dunstable, I was struck by some of the windows and how, the floor level windows and how, I'm going to say flimsy some of them appeared. And it made me really concerned. Is that on the scope to do something about that? And if not, can this board talk about it?
Ken or Jamie?
Yeah, so the exterior curtain wall systems, most of them are slated to be completely replaced. All of them have modifications happening so that right now there's really large casement windows. Those will be removed, and small awning windows will be replacing some of those. Dual purpose there, one of the purposes being that the large casement windows aren't made to be that big, and so they've worn out over, I don't know, since the 70s. I think some of those have been there. They're steel, they're rusting out, and so and then even the 90s ones are too big, and they need to be replaced too. So the little awning windows are better for that, and obviously security features. So
Great. That makes me feel like 100% better. Thank you.
Glad we could help.
The things I lose sleep over, you have no idea.
Yeah, the other thing is, he showed the pictures of the cement foundations at Maine Dunstable. Those are new cement foundations. But at Birch Hill, we saved the cement foundations that we had to buy and purchase for Fairgrounds Middle School, and they are at the landfill, and they're going to be moved over to support the portables at Birch Hill. So we saved some money there.
I will mention we are fully mobilized at both sites, and our site superintendents are getting into the buildings before school and after school just to kind of plan ahead and look ahead and see if how we can make our lives easier for our lives and the staff and admin. So both groups at each school have been great to work with thus far. So I think things are off to a great start there.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for the construction update.
Now the fun part. All right. Woo. All right, so we're going to start with the PCCOs and PCOs and awards. So Ken?
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with the PCCO, which is a prime contract change order number 14, and this is for Pennachuck Middle School. So this is comprised of the safety bollards that I did not mention that in my Pennachuck update, but that is the other thing, along with the track resurfacing and regrading that will be performed this summer. So those were 2 PCOs that were approved by the JSSBC during the April meeting. So this is just kind of finalizes those 2 items that were already presented and approved. So if approved, this PCCO number 14, total value of $452,768.71.
Okay, I'll need a motion to approve PCCO number 14 in the amount of $452,768.71 on the 2 PCOs that have previously been approved. Raymond?
So moved.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Ken?
Thank you. Moving over to this prime PCO number 16. This is for the Brian S. McCarthy Middle School. So again, a PCO is just, if approved by this committee, it allows us to perform the work with the subcontractor, and then a PCCO will follow. So you'll notice that this is referencing Fairgrounds Middle School. So a couple of items that we've been kind of strategically keeping track of was that we noticed that we'd kind of successfully managed our escalation budget that was part of the Brian S. McCarthy GMP. So we've been working with Mr. Smith and Lisa Gingras to kind of make sure that we had the equity for each of the tracks at the middle schools that were part of these 3 projects. So the Brian S. McCarthy Middle School will have their new track. Pennachuck will get their new track, and then under this, using unused escalation funds for the McCarthy School, Fairgrounds will get a resurfacing as well. So if approved, that work will take place this summer as soon as school gets out.
So again, we've gone a long way to make sure that there's equity amongst the 3 middle schools as much as possible. And this is one of the areas, and the Fairgrounds track is asphalt, and we will be fixing the asphalt and putting the new coating on. Any questions? I need a motion to approve PCCO number 16 for, I suppose it's,
$177,000.
no, I was just thinking it's for Fairgrounds, but it's from the money but $177,000.
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Timmons. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ken?
Okay, Franklin Street School is next. We have 2 PCOs to review. The first one is PCO number 35, which is to upgrade the kitchen on the 3rd floor of Franklin Street. I believe we've talked about this before. It is a significant amount of work. A couple of things to note on this are the fact that the school, under a different budget, is going to purchase the actual hood, makeup air unit, and kitchen exhaust fan, and the kitchen equipment itself is also being provided outside the bond money and this budget. So the change for us involves new plumbing, new ductwork, new power, roof openings to get the equipment on the roof, new ceilings, FRP wall protection in the kitchen itself, a new coiling door, ceilings, et cetera. So that scope of work was about $190,000. The good news for the bond money side of things is that $150,000 is being handled outside the project in a separate PO. So this PCO is for the balance of the cost to do that construction work. It's for the amount of $40,212.41.
I'll need a motion to approve PCO number 35 for the Franklin Street School for the construction area of the kitchen.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Gilio. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now we're cooking.
Nice.
Okay. PCO number 37 is for some security modifications in further review of the school by the school district. There were a couple of changes that have been requested, some relating to hardware at the group room in the basement level, some relating to sort of the flow of traffic at the main lobby, automatic door operators to help folks with strollers come in through the area, adding another set of corridor doors on the main floor. So there's just been a kind of a few modifications around to try to ease the flow of folks coming in, as well as making sure the secure doors are in the right spot, and that the operators are there to help people that need to get in. So that's sort of a little bit of, with the new door, there's a new exit sign, infilling some certain openings again, just to make the flow through the entryway go the safest way possible. So that PR number 15 for security modifications is PCO number 37 for a value of $26,419.05.
So we did a review and went through all these changes, and we were doing the extra security because we have preschool children at this school, and also for the traffic flow, to keep the older students and the younger students as separated as possible. So I need a motion to approve PCO number 37 at the Franklin Street School for security modifications in the amount of $26,419.05. So moved by Mrs. Raymond.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to get into, I have 10 contractor bid packages to present for recommendation tonight for both Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. So Alderman Dowd mentioned earlier that in an effort to streamline this process, much of the scope at each of the schools is the same or very similar. Counts and I guess certain items are maybe a little different. So you may notice that although the scope is similar, the pricing may vary, and that's based on Harvey needing to be very selective and careful to not overload certain contractors. We work with a lot of these contractors often, and we need to be very selective on how much work we're giving them at once. So we need to, given that we're kind of limited to we know when our end date has to be, so we need to be careful and make sure that we can take on this work and get it completed in a timely fashion. So if you're wondering why there are certain values that are different, that's the reason. So I'll start with the first bid package. I'll describe the scope, and then I'll give the recommendation for each of the schools, and then if there are any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. So starting with bid package 06A for architectural millwork. This scope of work is all the finished carpentry work, so all the plywood and all casework and locker bases, plastic laminate, solid surface, and epoxy counters with all the supports and grommets that are being called for, all the hardware and linear diffusers at the casework, all the wood bookcases, wardrobe cabinets, and cubbies, the graphic map, the display case benches at the new main lobbies for both schools, reinstallation of the existing cubbies, and all of the wood trim and windows that are being installed at those kind of retrofitted windows that Jamie had mentioned earlier. So for both schools, we did receive 3 bids. For Birch Hill, we're recommending W.S. Dennison Cabinets Incorporated of Pembroke, New Hampshire, for a total contract value of $408,205.00. And for Maine Dunstable, we're recommending Aubin Woodworking Incorporated of Bow, New Hampshire, for a total contract value of $373,976.00.
So the scope of the work is the same in the two schools, and he explained why the price differences. So I need a motion to approve this level of work to the companies that was just mentioned for Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. for the architectural millwork. Ms. Raymond,
I'll make the motion.
all right, any discussion?
Just make those as sorry. Can we just make those as two motions, one for Birch Hill and then one for Maine Dunstable, just because that's how I already wrote it?
We can, but we were trying to speed things up because it's the same scope of work. It's just,
I know.
if that's what,
It's fine, we can do whatever.
Right,
But then you have to do the math over,
oh, well,
which I can do math, I just don't feel like it.
so,
Just put an and in the middle.
the motion is to approve the
All right.
architectural millwork at both Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. And I will say that the, at Birch Hill, it's W.S. Dennison Cabinets of Pembroke, New Hampshire, the amount of $408,205. And at Maine Dunstable, it's the same scope of work is to Auburn Woodworking, Inc. of Bow, New Hampshire, in the amount of $373,976. And the price difference between the two is $34,229, if you're interested. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I will also elaborate. So all of the bids that are being presented tonight have been vetted out and are the lowest qualified bidder for each of those schools. So they all fit within the GMP that was approved for each of these schools, just to clarify. So moving into the fire stopping scope for both Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. So this is kind of a limited scope, kind of also an unknown scope. So we kind of lean on, this is one of our better contractors for this scope of work. This is to furnish and install all the fire stopping at the MEP and fire protection penetrations that'll be made by EEI throughout the building. It's kind of a similar setup. They're doing all the mechanical, the MEP work, and we're doing all of the architectural and structural work. So it's kind of an unknown commodity. So for both of the schools, we'll be recommending Amherst Insulation and Fire Stop Service of Manchester, New Hampshire. Birch Hill total would be $99,946.00, and Maine Dunstable will be $100,530.56.
So I'll need a motion to approve the fire stopping level of work at both Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable to Amherst Insulation and Fire Stop Service, Inc. of Manchester, New Hampshire, at Birch Hill in the amount of $99,946, and in Maine Dunstable at an amount of $100,530.56, and it's a difference of $584.56.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Gilio. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is the air and vapor barrier and joint sealants package, and this is to furnish and install all of the AVB that's around the perimeter of all the exterior penetrations and windows and doors, etc. So we did receive 4 bids for this scope of work, and we're recommending that both schools go to Reliable Waterproofing Services of Canterbury, New Hampshire. For Birch Hill, the total is $41,200.00, and for Maine Dunstable, the total contract value is $41,000.00.
Hang on a second. Okay. Both schools lined up here. All right. So I'll need a motion to approve. Did you say that was?
Reliable Waterproofing,
Right.
07C.
The, for a motion to approve the Birch Hill Elementary School A and VB and joint sealants to Reliable Waterproofing Services of Canterbury, New Hampshire, in the amount of $41,200, and to,
Maine Dunstable.
wrong one. and to Reliable Waterproofing Services, Canterbury, New Hampshire, for Maine Dunstable in the amount of $41,000. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is for the composite wall panels, and the scope of work is pretty much limited to the new main entrances of both buildings. So it's the furnish and install of the phenolic wall panels that's kind of serving as like the underside of the soffit at the new main entries, and the metal composite wall panels that are kind of serve as the new focal point of each school. So we did receive 2 bids for both schools here. We're recommending Optimum Building Systems for each of the 2 locations. Birch Hill is a total contract value of $42,250.00, and Maine Dunstable is a total value of $74,000.00. And I guess the larger disparity between these 2 prices because the Maine Dunstable entryway is a little larger than the Birch Hill entryway, so that's where you see the difference in price there.
And just for the record, the difference in price is $31,750. So I need a motion to approve the letters of recommendation for composite wall panels for Birch Hill to Optimum Building Services LLC of Litchfield, New Hampshire, in the amount of $42,250, and to the same company, Optimum Building Systems for Maine Dunstable, in the amount of $74,000.
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Timmons. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The next package we have is the spray foam insulation package, and this is to furnish and install all of the spray foam insulation that's required around doors, windows, any exterior penetrations. We received 1 qualified bid for this scope of work. Again, the scope is very limited at each of the schools for this bid package here. So we did receive. So we only solicited 1 bid for this item. We're recommending Che Insulation of Canaan, New Hampshire, for both Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable, for total contract value of $1,600.00 for both schools.
Okay, I'll need a motion to approve the spray foam installation at Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable to the Shea Installation of Canaan, New Hampshire. For Birch Hill, it's the amount of $1,600, and for Maine Dunstable, also $1,600. Alderman Wiltshire made the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next package we have is the acoustical ceilings and wall panels. So this scope encompasses all of the furnish and install of all the new acoustical ceiling tiles and grid throughout the building, and the acoustic sound absorbing wall panels in the various areas. So we had great coverage on this bid package. We received 6 bids, and we're recommending the most complete, lowest, and qualified bidder for each school. And for Birch Hill, we're recommending Granite State Acoustics of Bedford, New Hampshire, for a contract value of $190,900.00. And at Maine Dunstable, Metro Walls of Manchester, New Hampshire, for a total value of $248,293.00.
I'll need a motion to approve the award of the ACT and acoustic wall panels work to Birch Hill, to Granite State Acoustics of Bedford, New Hampshire, in the amount of $190,900. And for the same scope of work for Maine Dunstable to Metro Walls of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount of $248,293. The difference in price is $57,393.
So moved.
So moved by Mrs. Gilio. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next package is the flooring package. It's furnish and install of all carpeting, resilient flooring, cove base accessories required, the athletic flooring, and the new entrance mats and frames for each project. So we also received great coverage on this bid package. We received 6 bids, and we're recommending the lowest qualified bidder for each school. Birch Hill, we're recommending JDS Flooring Associates of Londonderry, New Hampshire, for a total value of $188,500.00. And at Maine Dunstable, we're recommending Gorman Thomas of Manchester, New Hampshire, for a total value of $196,500.00.
So I'll need a motion to approve the letters of recommendation for flooring, Birch Hill to JDS Flooring Associates LLC of Londonderry, New Hampshire, in the amount of $188,500. And for Maine Dunstable, same scope of work, to Gordon Thomas, Inc. of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount of $196,500. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Any discussion? Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. Can you speak to where the various flooring is going? Is it the rubberized kind of tiles like we have in the new middle school, and where the carpet is going?
I'll answer that one. The flooring is not the same because most of the school right now is VCT, and a lot of that is staying, so it's the vinyl composite tile. And so in order to match that, where it kind of blends in different areas, it was chosen to, that and for budget, it was chose to go stay with the VCT. The carpet is in the learning commons and the office spaces in the school. And a comment on the rubber flooring, I wanted to.
I don't know if it's actually rubber. I don't know.
It is rubber flooring, yeah. Over at McCarthy Middle School, it's good for acoustics. It's good for sound. It's good for, obviously, like you said, for durability in your feet and things like that. So it's a great product to have, and it's actually really much lower maintenance than VCT is in the long run. But unfortunately, these schools are VCT, but that's because that's what's there, and we're not replacing all of it under this scope.
All set?
Yeah.
Oh, any other question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ken?
Okay, the next package is the tile package. This is to furnish and install of all floor and wall tile, typically in the bathroom groups and areas and various walls throughout the project. So we received 6 bids for both schools, and we're recommending that both projects go to Capital Tile and Marble of Bow, New Hampshire. So Birch Hill's contract value is $58,880.00, and Maine Dunstable's contract value is $68,400.00.
Okay, I'll need a motion to approve the tiling for Birch Hill to Capital Tile and Marble Company, Inc. of Bow, New Hampshire, in the amount of $58,880, and same scope of work for the Maine Dunstable to same company, Capital Tile and Marble Company of Bow, New Hampshire, in the amount of $68,400, and the difference is $9,520.
So moved.
So moved by Mrs. Gilio. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next up is the painting package for each school. So we received 4 bids. This is for the painting and coating throughout the building, ceilings, walls, and whatever else we're called to paint. We received 4 bids for each school, and we're recommending King Painting of North Andover, Mass. for both projects. Birch Hill contract value is $169,900.00, and Maine Dunstable contract value is $169,900.00.
Okay, I'll need a motion to approve the recommendation for painting to Birch Hill to King Painting, Inc. of North Andover, Mass. in the amount of $169,900, and the same scope of work painting for Maine Dunstable to King Painting, Inc. of North Andover, Mass. in the amount of $169,900. Mrs. Alderman Timmons. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Ooh.
Oh,
Sorry, in both schools, but especially Maine Dunstable, there are some really gorgeous murals that have been done by the art teachers over the years. Is there a way to preserve those so that they can continue to be enjoyed?
I did have a conversation with the principal over there on those. They are painted right on the walls. So one method of preserving would to be not paint that section, around the perimeter of it. But she did note that she would help coordinate that because often they redo the work over time, and so it's something that's at least on her radar and has been noted by us as well. So to coordinate that once we get to that spot.
Okay, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's the principal's decision what to do with her school, but it would be nice to save art when we can.
Yeah, we typically just work with the administration of the school. Especially, we did this at Pennachuck. Certain artwork, what do you want saved, and we'll walk through and make sure that we put them aside or protect them. So I think we've already addressed that with the principal over there. So we'll certainly work with them as we touch those spaces.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Pennachuck has some gorgeous murals as well. I mean, as does this building. I love that we have the public art in our building, so thank you.
the only thing you can't do anymore is paint ceiling tiles. Fire department won't allow it.
Yes, I heard from the fire marshal that that's not okay.
So I need a motion to award the scope of work for wall pads to Birch Hill to Robert H. Lord Company, Inc. of Manchester, Connecticut, in the amount of $14,250, and the same scope of work for wall pads for Maine Dunstable to Robert H. Lord Company, Inc. of Manchester, Connecticut, in the amount of $14,250. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Any discussion?
Thanks.
Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. So the next, we're going to pay some bills. So invoices.
Okay, first invoice is to Cleanorama. This is for all the dispensers, paper towel, toilet paper, that sort of thing, for the McCarthy Middle School in the amount of $13,342.28. We have two invoices for Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable for EEI, totaling $1,106,745.66. We have four invoices from Harriman for design work at McCarthy Middle School, Franklin Street, Birch Hill, and Maine Dunstable, totaling $36,302.18. We have five invoices from Harvey for their work at Pennachuck and McCarthy Middle Schools for Franklin Street, Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable Elementary Schools. Those total $6,828,297.81. We have one invoice from Hayner Swanson for McCarthy Middle School, $2,116.32. One invoice from John Turner Consulting, it's our testing agent, for work at McCarthy Middle School, $2,995. Two invoices from the H.L. Turner Group. They are the architect working on the security upgrades at the three elementary schools. Those total $44,625. And finally, we have two invoices from Turner Building and Science and Design. They're doing the commissioning work at Pennachuck and McCarthy Middle Schools. That totals $16,378.47. Total all those by individual schools. For Franklin Street, it's $195,641.36. For the middle school project, $6,489,431.22. For Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, $1,321,105.14. And for the security vestibule project, $44,625. Total of all that is $8,050,802.72.
So I'll need a motion to approve the invoices as read, the Franklin Street invoices amounting to $195,641.36. The middle school project invoices amounting to $6,489,431.22. Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, $1,321,105.14. And for the security vestibule project, $44,625 for total invoices, $8,050,802.72. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire.
To get that one.
Second.
Second, not that we need one, but, okay. So all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Comments by committee members? No comments by anyone? Ms. Gilio?
Yeah, I just want to say how fabulous the visits were. It was just amazing to actually see, and also the rededication and tour of Pennachuck were both like highlights of this month for me.
Any other committee comments? We don't need a non-public. Do I have a motion?
Motion adjourned.
All right. You can select who you want to write down in the minutes.
Go ahead.
The motion on the floor is to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 8:07 PM.